Caleb Williams just dropped an absolute bombshell about his mental state following that heartbreaking loss to the Rams, and the raw truth of his words is going to leave you entirely speechless. He is officially back at Halas Hall, but the fire burning inside his chest has reached a dangerous, almost obsessive new level, and a championship ring is the only cure. The offseason has officially begun, and the explosive details emerging from today's media session prove this team is plotting something absolutely massive for the rest of the league. Before we dive into Caleb's jaw-dropping statements, make sure you smash that like button, share this video with every diehard fan you know, and hit subscribe so you never miss a crucial update. Can you even imagine the sickening agony of having your entire world shattered right when you were standing on the absolute brink of ultimate glory? We are back inside the building, and let me tell you, the energy pulsating through those walls right now is intensely electric. Now, to be crystal clear, these are not official, full-padded practices yet. We are merely talking about Phase 1 of the voluntary off-season workout program. This means getting the grueling conditioning right, putting in the exhaustive classroom hours, and grinding in the shadows when the cameras are completely turned off. But the boys are already back together. The hungry new rookies are in the building, the grizzled veterans are locked in, and earlier today we heard from absolute warriors like Cole Kmet, Garrett Bradbury, and Kobe Bryant. But we absolutely have to talk about the main event. We have to talk about our franchise savior, Caleb Williams, because what he revealed to the press today sent actual chills straight down my spine. Caleb stood in front of a sea of microphones and confessed that stepping away from the game of football this offseason was one of the hardest things he has ever had to endure in his entire life. Hearing that level of vulnerability just rips your heart right out of your chest, doesn't it? He openly admitted that it took him a serious, prolonged amount of time to simply get over the trauma of how last season violently ended. And let's be completely honest with ourselves as fans right now, last year was pure, unadulterated magic. It was the absolute thrill ride of a lifetime, a massive and desperate shock to the system after enduring years of endless, soul-crushing suffering. None of us wanted that magical run to end. Now I want you to put yourself directly in the shoes of the players who bled for the city. To battle all the way to that epic, nail-biting showdown against the Los Angeles Rams, to be breathing down the neck of a monumental victory, and then to have it all violently ripped away in the blink of an eye. That kind of sudden death changes a man's psychology. It proves just how fiercely competitive Caleb Williams and this entire roster truly are. They are utterly starved for redemption. The cute little fairy tale is officially over, and now, the dark, gritty, relentless grind for total dominance begins. But the madness surrounding this team does not just stop at the gridiron. We urgently need to address the absolute circus surrounding Caleb's off-field life, because the mainstream media will simply not let this man breathe for one solitary second. They aggressively questioned him today about the blinding spotlight, the crushing, relentless pressure of being the undisputed face of the franchise heading into his third year in the National Football League. His response? Absolute, unfiltered ice in his veins. He looked everyone dead in the eye and stated that he expected every single ounce of this chaos. He manifested this reality. He spoke this intense level of global fame into existence because he absolutely refuses to be anything less than a transcendent superstar. He made it perfectly clear that nothing is going to distract him from his ultimate destiny of greatness. We all witnessed this exact fearless, borderline psychopathic competitive mentality all throughout last year. When the walls are rapidly closing in, when the clock is ticking down to the final 2 agonizing minutes, and we are trailing by 4 crucial points, Caleb doesn't just survive the pressure, he completely thrives in it. He violently craves it. He demands the football in his hands. He wants the agonizing weight of the entire world resting squarely on his shoulders. So why in the world is everyone losing their collective minds over a weekend trip to Coachella? Let's get the absolute facts straight right here and now. The guy has been participating in a massive sponsored event out there for years, long before he even hit the professional circuit. He was practically the godfather of the name, image, and likeness era back when he was tearing it up in college. He is a legitimate superstar. So what if Kendall Jenner happened to be standing 10 feet away from him at a massive party? The internet exploded with baseless panic, screaming from the rooftops to keep distractions away from our quarterback, but it was nothing but fabricated, clickbait outrage. There wasn't even a shred of evidence that they even spoke a single word to one another. The undeniable point here is that Caleb Williams knows exactly how to navigate the treacherous, chaotic waters of fame. The quarterback of this historic city carries a terrifying burden, a dark curse of failed signal callers stretching back for generations. And Caleb is not just surviving that ancient curse, he is completely, utterly shattering it. Now, we have to transition to something that legitimately hurts the soul to talk about. The heartbreaking, sudden exit of DJ Moore. Question of the day: how devastated were you when the shocking news broke that DJ Moore was shipped off to Buffalo? And do you truly trust this front office to replace his elite production? Drop your fiery answers in the comments below right now, because I desperately need to know how this fanbase is handling this massive loss. When Caleb was pressed hard about losing his premier star receiver to the Buffalo Bills, you could literally feel the raw, unfiltered emotion pouring out of him. He admitted that the situation flat out sucks. They were absolute brothers in arms. They shared quiet dinners, played cards into the night, watched movies, and built a brotherhood that goes way, way beyond the artificial turf. The NFL is a ruthlessly cold, unforgiving business, and seeing an absolute fan favorite pack his bags is a notoriously tough pill to swallow. But Caleb dropped a massive piece of truth today that we all need to deeply respect. He passionately praised our general manager for exactly how he handles these gut-wrenching, franchise-altering trades. When this front office makes the painful, agonizing decision to move a prominent player, they do not exile him to a miserable, dumpster fire organization. They go out of their way to do right by the player. Think about the undeniable track record here for a second. The front office sent the legendary Khalil Mack to the Chargers, a fiercely competitive organization that only got significantly scarier with their new coaching regime. They traded Roquan Smith to the Baltimore Ravens, creating an absolutely terrifyingly perfect fit for a generational linebacker of his caliber. They sent Robert Quinn to a Philadelphia Eagles squad that was actively, aggressively hunting for a championship. When the polarizing Justin Fields era finally came to a dramatic close, the front office respected his wishes and shipped him to the Pittsburgh Steelers to give him a legitimate chance to compete for a starting job. And now, DJ Moore gets sent to the Buffalo Bills, a terrifying, win-now, offensive juggernaut that is completely tailor-made for an imminent Super Bowl run. Believe me when I say this stuff heavily matters. This level of profound respect echoes loudly across the entire league. Vicious sports agents talk. Elite superstars notice. Earning that kind of profound, undeniable respect in the dark shadows of the NFL could very well be the ultimate secret weapon when it comes to luring top-tier, game-changing free agents in the future. But the stark, undeniable reality is this: we are staring at a massive, glaring void on the current depth chart. We saw this exact scenario coming the exact second Luther Burden was aggressively drafted. It was a loudly ticking time bomb for DJ Moore's tenure in the city. And now that dark prophecy has been officially fulfilled. Yes, we still have an absolute athletic freak in Rome Odunze. Yes, the front office aggressively went out and brought in a dynamic veteran weapon like Khalif Raymond, alongside incredibly solid depth pieces like Maurice Alexander and J.P. Richardson on futures deals. But let's not kid ourselves into a false sense of security here. We are dangerously, uncomfortably thin. We are absolutely a body short in that highly critical receiver room. Do not be entirely shocked, in fact, you should completely expect it, when the front office boldly pulls the trigger on yet another explosive offensive weapon in the upcoming draft. The loud rumors are already swirling completely out of control regarding Deion Smith out of Ole Mississippi. The scouting interest there is absolutely undeniable, and he could easily turn into a massive, franchise-altering steal on day 2 or day 3 of the draft. And let's not dare forget the highly chaotic, unpredictable post-draft free agency period, where seasoned veteran targets are always lurking quietly in the shadows waiting for the exact right phone call. Finally, we must talk about Caleb's genuinely terrifying mindset for his upcoming third season and far beyond. If you honestly thought last season was his ultimate breakout year, you haven't seen absolutely anything yet. He straight up violently rejected the popular idea that simply winning a few games and feeling out the speed of the league was his definitive ceiling. He looked the media dead in the eye and said that last year was nothing more than a tiny stepping stone, and it meant absolutely nothing compared to his ultimate, burning obsession. He doesn't just want to be great. He stated, loudly and unequivocally, that he wants to be a world champion. A legendary Super Bowl champion. He intensely desires to go down in the history books as the absolute greatest quarterback this historic franchise, and quite possibly the entire league, has ever witnessed. And just take a step back and look at the deadly arsenal he has at his immediate disposal right now. With Ben Johnson brilliantly running the show, an offensive line that has been heavily, aggressively fortified, and a rapidly expanding, explosive group of skilled players, the ultimate structure is finally, permanently in place. Does Caleb have the raw, unteachable physical tools to be the undisputed best in the entire league? Without a shadow of a doubt. There is absolutely no physical limitation to his dynamic game. But the real, terrifying evolution is currently happening inside his mind. This brings us directly to the absolute obsession of Ben Johnson, the microscopic details. It is the defining, relentless mantra of this entire coaching staff, and Caleb is fully, incurably infected by it. He talked extensively, at length today, about meticulously mastering the absolute finest details of this complex offense. We are talking about memorizing the exact, precise depth of a receiver's route, deeply analyzing their footwork, hitting the precise intended landmark, and delivering a football with the absolute perfect, pinpoint velocity to ensure maximum yards after the catch. Last year, we saw agonizing, drive-killing drop passes and brutal miscommunications simply because guys were lazily running an 18-yard dig route instead of a sharply cut 20-yard dig. In the National Football League, those 2 tiny yards are the brutal, unforgiving difference between a catastrophic, season-ending interception and a glorious, game-winning touchdown. But now, we are officially entering the next level of this incredibly complex, high-octane system. The frustrating early growing pains are rapidly fading into the rearview mirror. The unspoken chemistry is locking in tighter than ever before. If the dynamic receivers hit their exact marks, and Caleb confidently delivers the football with the lethal, surgical precision we all know he possesses, we are going to see a monstrous, unprecedented spike in completion percentage and terrifying overall efficiency. This specific unit was statistically ranked as one of the top 10 offenses in the entire league last year, and the scary part is, they haven't even scratched the absolute surface of their true, devastating potential. The sky is the absolute limit, the entire league better be terrified of what is coming next, and the countdown to absolute dominance has officially begun.